We have yet another horrifically gruesome massacre of Christians in Nigeria to report, and this story involves machetes.
Friday night, I was sleeping in my house. See my house there. I come here, they shoot gun. Later, they come, they break this house. Where my brother is sleeping here with his children. Thereby, they come, they kill people. They were breaking the house. Say, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
These first-hand accounts gathered by Truth Nigeria journalists describe the ongoing atrocities in a terror campaign to eradicate Nigeria's Christians.
On this very day, 210 persons were slaughtered in one night, in less than 24 hours.
The video from the Father's Day massacre includes graphic images of people being burned alive, families attacked, and homes destroyed in Yelawata, Nigeria.
They're firebombing their churches. The Fulani are killing them with absolute impunity. We've called on the government in Abuja and the president several times to do what governments do, law enforcement. Use the military if you have to, but stop this genocide and do it now.
The resolution points to Nigeria's government's apparent open border policy that allows almost free access to the country. Fulani militants and ISIS-linked extremist groups from neighboring countries take advantage of this policy to carry out mass murder, rape, and kidnappings.
In last year's speech, I walked you through an average week in Europe. Talked about rapes, stabbings, and terror attacks that were committed by migrants and still are committed by migrants on a daily basis.
Greater Manchester Police are currently investigating more than 1,000 more rape gang suspects, and these are stories being told by 714 more alleged victims. And just to make sure that you're aware of the scale of this, I'm sure you all are, but there are estimated in total to be 250,000 victims of this scourge.
It wasn't just abuse, it was hideous torture.
You're laughing. No, because it's not something dangerous. Only cigarette, everywhere you have it. Of course, barbershop, takeaway, everyone buys money.
He says many places here sell illegal tobacco and claims some even deal drugs.
He's selling a drug in a barbershop. He's selling a crack in a barbershop, my friend.
Apparently, the Somalians here, they've imported a lot. Not as much as Sweden, but pretty close. Apparently 1 in 5 of them have committed a crime or done some sort of criminal offense.
The Swedish government and media have long suppressed bad news about immigration, but it all blew up in a major scandal when the public learned that sexual assaults by migrant males against Swedish girls at a summer music festival last year had been covered up.
Now, burnt cars is, just like several other crimes in Sweden, something that is relatively new. It started happening about 10, maybe 20 years ago, and for several years, media and politicians were very successful when it comes to hiding the problem.
4 people injured, 9 arrested. That's the preliminary toll from a knife fight involving 20 Afghans. It happened last Saturday in Belgium. On the night of July 7th in Italy, a 25-year-old Egyptian armed with a knife caused panic on the street. Meanwhile, 42-year-old Shadi A took the stand in Germany. The Syrian set 2 houses on fire, drove a van into 2 stores, and attacked people with a machete. He shouted Allahu Akbar. He injured 37 random people, including 10 children. The recent tragic events, the murder of a young Polish woman from Toruń and the killing of a Polish man in Nowe, have also caused Poles to want to stop mass immigration.
More than 5 years after the massacre at satirical weekly Charlie Hebdo, survivors told of their pain.
Carried into the courthouse on a stretcher, his face covered to conceal his identity. This is the man police say tried to murder Danish cartoonist Kurt Westergaard. The 28-year-old Somali, a legal resident in Denmark, broke into Westergaard's home last night wielding an axe and a knife and shouting he wanted to kill him.
As the Muslim population remains under 2% in any given country, they will, for the most part, be regarded as a peace-loving minority and not as a threat to other citizens. This is the case in these countries. At 2 to 5%, they begin to proselytize from other ethnic minorities and disaffected groups, often with major recruiting from jails and among street gangs. This is happening in these countries. From 5% on, they exercise an inordinate influence in proportion to their percentage of the population. For example, they'll push for the introduction of halal food, thereby securing food preparation jobs for Muslims. They will increase pressure on supermarket chains to feature halal on the shelves, along with threats for failure to comply. This is occurring in these countries. When Muslims approach 10% of the population, they tend to increase lawlessness as a means of complaint about their conditions. In Paris, we are already seeing regular mass car burnings. Any non-Muslim actions that offend Islam result in uprisings and threats, such as the Charlie Hebdo massacre, also in Paris. Such tensions are seen daily, particularly in Muslim sections in these countries. After reaching 20%, nations can expect hair-trigger rioting, jihad militia formations, sporadic killings, and the burnings of Christian churches and Jewish synagogues, such as in Ethiopia. At 40%, nations experience widespread massacres, chronic terror attacks, and ongoing militia warfare, such as in these countries. From 60%, nations experience unfettered persecution of non-believers of all other religions, including non-conforming Muslims, sporadic ethnic cleansing, use of Sharia law as a weapon, and the jizya, a tax placed on infidels.
Do you think Islam is at war with the West?
I think Islam hates us. There's something there there's a tremendous hatred there. There's a tremendous hatred. We have to get to the bottom of it. There is an unbelievable hatred of us.
In Islam itself?
You're gonna have to figure that out, okay? You'll get another Pulitzer, right? But you're gonna have to figure that out. But there is a tremendous hatred, and we have to be very vigilant. We have to be very careful, and we can't allow people coming into this country who have this hatred.
Good to see. So we know that Tommy Robinson was in court earlier, past 2 days, and it's been adjourned to the 4th of November, I believe. What are your thoughts on what's going on surrounding his case, and moving forward, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, sure. So I think that whenever this situation happens, I think it's a symbol for what's really going on in Britain. So the first thing is that there is a deliberate attempt by the establishment to silence, take out, wipe out, remove, cuck, defund. All this costs money, by the way. So there are lots of different describing words with regards to what this stands for. I think it stands for saying there is a new order, and if you don't fall into line, you'll be punished. That sounds totalitarian to me. Is it totalitarian on the right or on the left? Let your audience decide. I say that we've been living under left-wing fascism, indeed authoritarian rule, for some time now in Britain. And what's happening here today and with Tommy is another example of saying, if you put your head above the parapet, it's not just Tommy, it's happened to patriots last summer who essentially committed no crimes, who did nothing wrong, but were bullied into pleading guilty to nonsense crimes like violent disorder, where you don't have to have any violence. You just need to be present at the time and say guilty. It's a deliberate trap to crush the will of the patriots. What's happening today here with Tommy is yet again another symbol whereby the state has said, you've rebelled against us, you also have funding, you also have a very large platform, and a very large, passionate, motivated voice, persecution tends to breed that within people, so the state isn't doing too good a job of silencing Tommy. And what it does is it says to our Christian brothers and sisters and to the patriotic movement on the right, it says, what's the plan, patriot? Which way, Western man? Are we going to stand together and fight as a unit? Or are we going to still try to convert liberal hearts and minds, those people whose main mantra and philosophy is, I'm all right, Jack, pull the ladder up behind me. We are unified, we are a team, we are one voice. We need to start rejecting the formation of new parties and people who have their own agendas based on whatever their overall plan is. Maybe they're upset with previous orders and they want their own, etc. I believe we are unified and we can take our country back, but it needs to be under one single point command. It needs to be under UKIP so that we can start repealing laws that are absolute nonsense laws designed to silence and persecute patriots, and start writing, if required, new laws which protect our values, way of life. Look at how Tommy's been treated. Look at what happened to our brother, God rest his soul, Charlie Kirk. The interview I've just done with a young lady, she's mother of two, she told me she's terrified. The Pink Ladies have formed now. They're saying, look, we're ordinary people who just want to say, look, we're socially conservative people, we're patriotic people, and we're not happy with the way that we've been labelled far right this, Nazi that, fascist the other. But this is not going to stop. Kia, a lot of this nonsense in terms of laws happen under what people described as moderate governments. It turns out it's absolute nonsense. If we want to end the madness and take our country back, you're going to have to instill me as your leader, one single point of command. This is fatiguing. It's fatiguing Tommy, it's fatiguing his family, it's fatiguing his following, and it's fatiguing us. They're never going to stop. We have to take it back. We have to declare war, state of emergency, and take it back. And we must all support one another, because today it's Tommy, previously it's been Katie. Next week it'll be me, you. You see where I'm going with this? This all ends when we say it ends. We must stay together and we must get political. You must put me in as your leader, and we must get justice. Not just for our girls, not just for our communities and for Britain, but for our brothers and sisters who have been persecuted by the state as well.
Do you see this as a political injustice against Tommy Robinson in particular, the government using the Terrorism Act?
Yeah, my understanding is that he didn't give them the PIN to their phone, and then they're trying to persecute him based on terrorism charges. When you hear the word terrorism, you think of Al-Qaeda, you think of ISIS, you think of IRA, you think of people blowing civilians up. You know, there's a difference between soldiers dying in combat and civilian casualties. When you think of terrorism, you know, you think of World Trade Center, you know, you think of terrorism. Why is Tommy on a terrorism charge? My understanding it was because he wouldn't unlock his phone. Now this can't be reasoned with. So let's look at what's happening here. The state is clearly trying to persecute not just Tommy, but lots of patriots. They're clearly trying to defund patriots, not just Tommy, but a lot of different people. They're trying to say, look, if you step out of line, we will silence you. The state is clearly sending a message to our socially conservative, patriotic right, our Christian brothers and sisters, our nationalists, saying, if you step out of line, we will silence you as a political opponent. And Brother Charlie, God rest his soul, is now dead for that. He wanted freedom of speech. He wanted robust freedom of debate. Either speech is free or it is not. So where do we know which wing of politics is silencing political dissidents and political opponents? This is all out of the communist playbook. Yet it's the Tony Blairs and the Keir Starmers and lots of former leaders of the Conservative Party that guise and veil themselves as moderates, and the branding and the marketing and the things they say. But actually, I think we are witnessing the fruition of the long march through the institutions to essentially subdue and cuck and to strong arm most people in this country into, I'm not going to do anything outside of what you tell me to do, because if I do, I'm going to get arrested, incarcerated, defunded. So again, I have to draw your attention and indeed your audience back to the one point that's relevant here. We've got to take our country back, and the way that we do that is by returning a majority with me as your leader. Justice for our communities, justice for Britain, justice for all the people that have had their lives ripped apart by lawfare, and justice for our girls.